Good morning and a very warm welcome to Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. First up, a look at the top stories of the day. Shelling and exchange of fire between Indian and Pakistani troops is on as we speak, as Pakistan violates LOC ceasefire again last night. It's the 10th violation in 6 days. Bihar government transfers Patna Divisional Commissioner and 3 senior officials as it probes the stampede on Dussehra that killed 33 people. Campaign rhetoric reaches fever pitch in election-bound states of Maharashtra and Haryana. Modi and Huda address rallies. Pakistani Taliban declares allegiance to the Islamic State group, orders militants across the region to help the group in its campaign to set up a global Islamic caliphate. And hundreds of pro-democracy protesters continue to camp out on the streets of Hong Kong, ignoring a government deadline for them to disperse. Well, first up, Indian and Pakistani troops are engaged in massive exchange of gunfire and shelling in Arispura sector of Jammu and Kashmir as we speak, after Pakistan violated the ceasefire again last night. Reports suggest that at least 4 people have been killed and over 25 injured as Pakistan resorted to unprovoked firing in Arnia area of Arispura late last night. This is Pakistan's 10th ceasefire violation in the past 6 days. This time around, Pakistan targeted many villages on the Indian sides, besides shelling at Indian posts along the border. Following the shelling, over 200 people have been evacuated to safer areas. The Jammu district magistrate said that the situation is unpredictable as of now. And moving on now to an update on the probe into the stampede in Patna that left 33 people dead on Dussehra. The Bihar government has transferred the Patna Divisional Commissioner and 3 other top civil and police officials of the district administration. The district magistrate of Patna, a DIG and a senior superintendent of police are among them. The transfers were effected even as the state government vowed to punish those responsible for the lapses that led to the stampede. Replacements for these officials have also been announced. A government official said the probe team would jointly hold a public inquiry at the district collectorate on the 7th of October to hear accounts of eyewitnesses and other people willing to depose. The probe is scheduled to be completed within a week.
बिहार में जब भी घटना होती है, बिहार सरकार की आदत है वो कह रहे जांच का आदेश दे रहे हैं। मोदी जी की रैली के वक्त में भी कह दिया था, लेकिन जिम्मेदारी कौन लेगा? जांच के आदेश से काम नहीं चलेगा, जिम्मेदारी लेनी पड़ेगी। ये किसी पार्टी का सवाल नहीं है, ये बिहार की जनता का सवाल है।
And it's just about a week of campaigning left for assembly elections in Maharashtra and Haryana, and political parties are pulling out all stops. Party top guns have swung into action, addressing rallies through the length and breadth of both states. Here's a glimpse of some hectic electioneering activity over the last 24 hours. It was a hectic Sunday for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. With the party banking heavily on his popularity, the Prime Minister addressed back-to-back rallies in poll-bound Maharashtra. Addressing voters in Sangli and Kolhapur districts, Prime Minister Modi said it was time to end the coalition rule in Maharashtra. He also took on the Congress and the NCP while raising the poll pitch.
कांग्रेस पार्टी मुझे पूछ रही है, 60 साल हुए जो देश की गादी पर बैठे थे, राज्यों की गादी पर बैठे थे, पंचायत से पार्लियामेंट तक सब जगह पे उन्हीं का झंडा फहरता था, 60 साल तक एक चक्री राज किया था, वो 60 साल का तो हिसाब नहीं दे रहे हैं, मोदी से 60 दिन का हिसाब मांग रहे हैं।
Modi also said he won't target his campaign speeches against BJP's estranged political ally, the Shiv Sena. He said the decision has been taken in a mark of respect to Sena's former patriarch, Bal Thackeray.
आज कुछ अखबार के पंडितों ने लिखा है कि मोदी ने अपने भाषण में शिवसेना की आलोचना नहीं करते हैं। भाइयों बहनों, बाला साहब ठाकरे की गैर हाजिरी में महाराष्ट्र प्रदेश का यह पहला चुनाव है और इसलिए मैं बाला साहब के प्रति अपनी श्रद्धा और आदर को व्यक्त करने के लिए शिवसेना के खिलाफ एक शब्द भी नहीं बोलूंगा।
Apart from Modi, other BJP stalwarts like Rajnath Singh also addressed rallies in Maharashtra. Speaking to voters at a rally in Yavatmal, Rajnath claimed that the BJP will work for development of the state to help those who are economically weak.
जिस भारत में 65% आबादी नौजवानों की हो, जिनकी उम्र 35 वर्ष से कम हो, और जिस भारत में प्राकृतिक संसाधनों की कोई कमी न हो, फिर भी भारत आज हमारा दुनिया का सबसे गरीब देश माना जाता है। क्यों ऐसे हालात हैं?
Poll-bound Haryana too buzzed with political activity as BJP President Amit Shah and the father-son duo of Bhupender Singh Hooda and Dipender Singh Hooda addressed rallies in different districts. Both took swipes at each other in a bid to woo voters. Hooda even dismissed any Modi wave in his state.
हरियाणा सरकार अपनी तरफ से 2.5 किलो दाल हर महीने 20 रुपए के हिसाब से देती है ताकि गरीब आदमी का गुजारा हो, और सारे मनरेगा में कितने काम हुए, सारे अधिकार दिए, फिर भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी का बहुमत कैसे आया? लोगों ने भारतीय जनता पार्टी की नीतियों और कार्यक्रम पे वोट नहीं दिए, पॉलिसीज और प्रोग्राम पे वोट नहीं दिए, लेकिन फिर भी बहुमत आया इसलिए कि पूरे देश में, खास तौर पे उत्तर भारत में एक माहौल बनाया गया। किन किन ताकतों ने साथ दिया उनकी चर्चा नहीं करता, लेकिन कुछ देश की ताकतें इकट्ठी हो गई।
Hooda claimed that during the Congress rule in Haryana, the state reached the top position in terms of per capita income, per capita investment and resource mobilization. The Chief Minister also said he was confident that Congress's poor showing in the Lok Sabha polls would have no impact on the assembly elections. Bureau Report, Rajya TV. Chief Election Commissioner V.S. Sampath's suggestion that paid news should be made a poll offence has found widespread support. A majority of respondents to a law commission consultation paper have backed the suggestion that paid news should be made an offence under the Representation of the People's Act. There were a range of recommendations regarding the enforcement mechanisms that should be put in place to monitor and restrict the proliferation of paid news. One of the suggestions was to make political advertising free and be made available to candidates on a transparent and equal footing. On Sunday, Sampath had said that paid news should be made an electoral offence that attracts disqualification so that it acts as a deterrent.
The district level committees are very active about detection of paid news, and this drive will be continued. Whatever cases are detected, prompt action will be taken to book it to the expenditure of the candidate.
Well, for all the news and updates related to assembly elections, you can watch our special bulletin Verdict 2014 every day at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. The President, Vice President and Prime Minister have greeted the people on the occasion of Eid al-Zuha, which is being celebrated today. In his message, the President has said, on the occasion of Eid al-Zuha, I convey greetings and best wishes to all fellow citizens, especially my Muslim brothers and sisters. Eid al-Zuha symbolizes sacrifice, faith and devotion. Let us this day imbibe the spirit of universal love, brotherhood, sacrifice and service, which constitute eternal values always upheld by our composite culture, and work unitedly for peace, progress and prosperity of our nation and the world. The Vice President in his message said, and I quote, I extend my greetings and good wishes to the citizens of our country on the auspicious occasion of Eid al-Zuha. The festival, which symbolizes the spirit of supreme sacrifice, promotes peace, love and compassion in the society. Let us celebrate this festival to strengthen unity and fraternity amongst us, unquote. And the 4th national level exhibition and project competition of the Department of Science and Technology gets underway today. Students from various schools are exhibiting their prototypes that incorporate innovative scientific solutions to various problems. Some of these have been awarded patents as well. The 3-day exhibition is titled Inspire for Innovation in Science Pursuit for Inspired Research. One of the highlights of the exhibition is the original space vehicle, the Soyuz T-10 module that brought back Rakesh Sharma and his 2 Soviet cosmonaut companions back to the Earth after their maiden voyage to space in 1984.
This is a descent module. Descent module means the craft in which Rakesh Sharma came back to Earth from space. We know that he went to space on April 2nd, 1984. He returned on April 11, 1984. On 11th, when he came back, he came in this. Of course, inside you can see 3 seats. So it was not only Rakesh Sharma, there were also his 2 companions, Russian cosmonauts. So 3 of them came back in this. This is the hole in which they crawled out. Actually, there is a cover here. That cover will be cut open. And there is a kind of a door. The door you push inside. And the 3 people have to crawl out. That is how this thing is. This is the module that came from the space. The real one. The actual one. You can see that there are heat shields. You know, when you rub your hands, you can feel heat. In same way, when this craft came from space, when it entered into the Earth's atmosphere, there will be friction with the atmosphere. So, huge amount of heat, something like about 1000 degrees will be generated. So, the craft should not burn up. Okay, so you have a heat shield here. You can see the heat shield. Here you can see that even if there was heat shield, there has been damage to the module. There is a burn. Here is the parachute, which will open when this module was about 10 kilometers above the Earth's surface. The parachute opened. So actually it came like this. That was the bottom part. This was the top part. It came like this. Okay, came down. The parachute would have opened like this. This will burst and then it will open. The parachute will come out from here. And here is a porthole through which the cosmonauts can see outside. But of course, initially they can't see anything outside because it will be too hot. There will be fire kind of situation. You can't see anything. Here you can see some holes. Basically, they are for aerodynamical so that it doesn't rotate too fast. This is a kind of an emergency exit. In case if you can't open the front one or it lands on land and then that is not available for you to come out, you can open this. But this is generally not open. Right? So this is this spacecraft went into space from Soviet Union. That's what you see here. Rakesh Sharma went as part of the joint program of ISRO and the Soviet space program in 1984. That's something that you see here. This is a real module, the Soyuz T-11 descent module that has come back. And this has been now gifted by Russia to India. It's now in India.
In fact, our correspondent Smriti Rastogi spoke to some of the participants about their creations that are being put up at the exhibition. Let's listen in.
With all the focus on science and technology, Rajya Sabha TV is getting you all the updates and coverage of the Inspire program. I'm here at Pragati Maidan where this program has been organized, and I have with me this young student who has made this project. So what is your name?
Karishma Arora.
So Karishma, if you could tell us what this project is all about.
The title is Abundant Electricity and Pollution-Free India. It is a unique technology in which we see that in industries, smoke coming out from chimneys cause various harmful diseases and pollute our environment. So I'm processing it. I'm processing the smoke in my project and producing oxygen and hydrogen gas. Oxygen gas will produce at anode and hydrogen gas will produce at cathode. So we'll store our oxygen gas and we can fill cylinders which are useful in hospitals, industries, etc. We cannot store hydrogen for long, but it is the cleanest fuel. So we are using it in a hydrogen generator, which is not made in India till now, and which is used to generate electricity. And as byproduct, we get water, which is useful in cultivation, as well as we can use it in our industries.
open bore wells, manholes and drains are a growing menace in our society. This is because of the recklessness which is caused on dealing with such kind of incidents. But here we have this project, which is a rescue project prepared by the student to avert any such kind of incidents. So what is your name?
VK is Deepak Reddy.
So tell us about this project. What was the idea behind this project?
I saw many children in TVs who are falling in these borewells and dying.
These borewells?
Yes. Recently, in Karnataka, Hanumappa, a 6 years boy, fell into a borewell. After 6 days of rescue operation, the decomposed body of that child has come out.
Okay.
By seeing that incident, I got the idea to prepare this.
And how does this project works? If you can demonstrate this, how does it works?
And at 7 feet below the ground, we are arranging a rescue bed.
Rescue bed.
And on the top of it, we are arranging an LDR circuit. And we'll make light to fall on it continuously.
You can also watch the special extensive coverage of the Inspire exhibition in our program Science Warriors today at 5 p.m. We'll head into a very short break here, but still to come, the Brazil presidential elections are headed for a runoff with candidate Dilma Rousseff emerging as the front-runner so far. Details to follow after this quick break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the Breakfast News. Now, the Pakistani Taliban has declared allegiance to the Islamic State group. It has ordered militants across the region to help the group in its campaign to set up a global Islamic caliphate. In a statement marking the Eid al-Adha festival, the group appealed to militants there to unite against the US-led alliance. The leader of Tehreek-e-Taliban, Maulana Fazlullah, issued a statement that called upon all militant groups to unite under one banner. The statement came after Islamic State militants beheaded British aid worker Alan Henning in a video posted on Friday, triggering global condemnation. Well, to discuss this global collaboration and the implications it can have on global threat, we have joined this morning by retired Commodore C. Uday Bhaskar. Commodore Bhaskar is also the director at the Society for Policy Studies. A very good morning, Commodore Bhaskar, and welcome to Rajya Sabha TV. The Pakistani Taliban has vowed support to the Islamic State. It's also said that it will send troops, in fact jihadists, to help the Islamic State in Iraq and Syria. Do you see this collaboration bringing the IS threat closer to India?
At this point, I think the Indian security agencies would be well advised to monitor these developments, which is the support being extended by one faction of the Pakistan Taliban to the Islamic State. And this has been preceded by the Al-Qaeda wanting to create the equivalent of a new unit that would focus on South Asia. And a very concerted attempt by the Taliban, the Pakistan Taliban, which is currently going through its own internal divisions, to become more relevant as far as this current global jihad is concerned. So while the IS itself may not have identified India in particular as a target, I think these are trends and patterns that deserve to be very closely monitored.
But Commodore Bhaskar, with Al-Qaeda, initially we heard a few weeks ago the Al-Qaeda threat to the Indian subcontinent. Now the Pakistani Taliban joining hands with the Islamic State. Do you think India can really afford to stay away from this global fight against terror?
Well, India has been experiencing this kind of ideologically motivated terror for more than 20 years. So while the United States now is in the process of forming this coalition, I think for India, we should perhaps calibrate our response in the most appropriate manner, meaning that Prime Minister Modi during his recent visit to the United States did convey India's concern, but at the same time, he was careful not to commit India to a US-led action at this stage. Because till such time,
also touch upon how capable is India in fighting this, how capable are we in taking up this challenge?
If we look at India's capacity, I think over the last decade, and we have had two experiences. One was the Kargil War of 1999,
right,
and the second was the attack on Mumbai in November 2008. As a security analyst, I would say that there is need for India to increase its capacity in a more definitive manner. Meaning that in the last 6 years from 2008 to now, while successive governments have made certain statements and have promised that the capacity of the center and coordination with the states would increase, I'm afraid on the ground the reality is not as visible as it ought to be. The new government led by Mr. Modi has prioritized security, and I think whether it is the staffing of the agencies, the need to have better coordination between center and state, and I think looking at the entire internal security threat in a more holistic way is something that needs to be addressed with the greatest urgency.
Right.
And if you look at individual institutions, whether it is the state police, the paramilitary, the intelligence agencies, the current state of the Indian military, there are many gaps. And as I said, gaps that were pointed out as far back as 1999.
Right.
And therefore, I think the current pattern that we are seeing, the IS, the Al-Qaeda and so on, the capacity of the state, I'm afraid, leaves a fair amount to be desired.
Right, Comrade Bhaskar, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us this morning and sharing your perspective. So the Islamic State now strengthening itself with the Pakistani Taliban vying to support the Islamic State. We'll move on in our bulletin now. Hundreds of pro-democracy protesters continue to camp on the streets of Hong Kong, ignoring a government deadline for them to disperse. Reports say that there was no police action in the morning. Protests are largely peaceful so far. Key road near protest site have also reopened today. Protesters did not block paths of government workers but allowed them to enter the central government office building. The Hong Kong Federation of Students at a press conference said that they had met with representatives of the government to open talks with Hong Kong's Chief Secretary to defuse the crisis. On Saturday, leader C.Y. Leung had warned of police action if the demonstrators failed to disperse by Monday. Both sides are open to talks, however, the stalemate continues. And Brazil's presidential vote is headed for a runoff. Sunday's polls show incumbent President Dilma Rousseff as the front-runner in the race ahead of her rival Isidro Nevel, but she has fallen short of an outright victory. With nearly 88% of votes counted, Rousseff received 41% of the vote. She's all set to face a runoff against centrist Isidro Neves. Neves has won 34% of the votes. Analysts now predict a potentially tight second round on the 26th of October. Brazilian election officials said that the voter turnout was 80%, with nearly 142 million people exercising their franchise on Sunday. And a look now at some other news and updates from around the globe in our World Wrap. Heated battles in Donetsk in eastern Ukraine marked 1 month of the Ukraine pro-Russian ceasefire. Ukraine's military accused Russian-backed separatists of fresh violations of the ceasefire, saying their forces came under attack in several parts of the east, including the airport at Donetsk. Ukraine said 75 soldiers and civilians have been killed since the ceasefire took effect on 5th of September. 2 Hezbollah militia and 16 Nusra fighters have been killed in clashes in eastern Lebanon. The Sunni militants are from Al-Qaeda's Syrian affiliate, the Al-Nusra Front. Hundreds of Sunni insurgents attacked at least 10 Hezbollah bases along a mountainous range close to the Syrian border. Mexican forensic experts recovered 28 charred bodies from a clandestine grave on the outskirts of the city, where police engaged in a deadly clash with student protesters a week ago. The state prosecutor said the corpses were too badly damaged for immediate identification, and he could not say whether any of the dead could be some of the 43 college students reported missing after the confrontation with the police. He said genetic testing of the remains could take 2 weeks to 2 months. Bulgaria's political turmoil continues after snap elections failed to produce a clear result. Exit polls on Sunday put strongman former Premier Boyko Borisov's right-wing GERB party in first place, but with only 33.2% of the vote and 90 seats in the 240-seat parliament, 31 seats short of a majority. Main rivals, the Socialists and the ethnic Turkish DPS party, are likely to have 70 to 90 seats between them. The snap polls are choosing the country's third government in less than 2 years. Pope Francis formally opened a global assembly of Roman Catholic bishops on Sunday by presiding over a mass in St. Peter's Basilica. Pope Francis told bishops and cardinals from around the world to climb down from their ivory towers and tackle real-life issues such as divorce, contraception and same-sex unions. The gathering, known as Synod, is discussing the Church's position on controversial issues. The Synod will last for 2 weeks. And a look now at sports updates from around the world and our sports beat. World number 1 Novak Djokovic defeated Thomas Berdych 6-0, 6-2 in just 66 minutes to claim his 5th China Open title. The 27-year-old Serb has never lost a match in Beijing and extended his unbeaten streak to 24 matches. In women's final, Maria Sharapova overcame Petra Kvitova 6-4, 2-6, 6-3 to take the title. With the win, Sharapova moved up to number 2 in the world rankings. Lewis Hamilton secured a third successive win to open up his championship lead after winning a heavily rain-hit Japanese GP. The race was stopped 9 laps early following a serious accident involving Marugia's driver Jules Bianchi. The Frenchman suffered severe head injury after his car smashed into a recovery vehicle. He has now undergone surgery. Chelsea went 5 points clear at the top of the Premier League after a 2-0 win at home to Arsenal in an all-London clash on Sunday. Chelsea scored in both the halves as Eden Hazard gave Chelsea a 27th minute lead, while Diego Costa scored his 9th goal of the season to extend Arsene Wenger's winless streak against Jose Mourinho to 12 games. Cristiano Ronaldo scored a record equaling 22nd La Liga hat-trick to help Real Madrid demolish Athletic Bilbao 5-0. Ronaldo's third treble in 4 league games drew him level with the legend Alfredo Di Stefano and Telmo Zarra. This was Ronaldo's 13th goal in 6 league games. And finally, the world's largest beer festival, the annual Munich Oktoberfest, came to a close on Sunday. A traditional gun salute and all the festivities. Take a look as we take your leave. Thanks for watching and have a great day.